fast, cheap, and reliable. Usually you have to pick 2 out of the 3, but I would argue this GR Corolla offers all 3. Although calling this cheap may cause some arguments in the comments because it's essentially $50,000, which is a lot of money, but I would argue you can have just as much fun in this GR Corolla as other cars that are tens of thousands of dollars more. And because it's a Toyota Corolla ultimately, it will definitely be very, very reliable and just so much fun. We have a rally-inspired variable all-wheel drive available with a manual transmission and a wildly boosted 3-cylinder under the hood. This is a proper enthusiast hot hatchback. So this is a 2026 GR Corolla Premium Plus. In the past, there were a couple different special iterations of the GR Corolla. We had the Circuit, the Morizo, there was a base core version, but now you either do a regular GR Corolla or the Premium Plus, which adds a couple things, like this one has the forged carbon roof, which brings the price to just around $50,000. But this is no longer going to be the top GR Corolla because they are doing the GRMN, which is even more aggressive. It's got some wild carbon bodywork to be tuned even sportier, but will also be very rare and also likely much more expensive. It's so cool what GR is doing Gazoo Racing. Not only are they involved in Formula 1 with the Haas F1 team, but they're giving us enthusiast options like this, which is relatively affordable. We are saying goodbye to the Supra, but we have the incoming GR GTA, proper Toyota supercar. That will be on the complete opposite end of the enthusiast car spectrum compared to this thing. It's going to be very, very expensive, but it's a good time to be an enthusiast of Toyota performance vehicles. Let's talk about the powertrain because it is one of the highlights. Under the hood, we have a 1.6-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder pushing up to just over 26 pounds of boost. It makes 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. They increased it to match the peak of the previous Morizo. Now, it's available with either a 6-speed manual transmission or you can pay more for an automatic, but why? Get it with the manual transmission. We also have a very cool variable all-wheel drive system. Under normal driving, it's 60% front, 40% rear. But then you can go to a gravel mode, which is a 50-50 split. But then there's a track mode, which is 30% front, 70% rear. That's a proper rear bias little hot hatchback for some shenanigans. We also have front and rear torsion limited slip differentials. Honestly, all of the powertrain ingredients sound so fantastic. They definitely did not just slap a couple GR badges on this and call it a day. It has been properly redesigned and it looks quite aggressive. The front fascia has so many openings for airflow and cooling, and it's all functional. All of these openings, none of them are just decorational. We have the more aggressively bulging hood. These vents are functional too. And this thing looks so good in a proper color like this supersonic red. Sometimes I've seen them in like black, white, gray. It's just boring, right? A hot hatchback like this deserves a fun color. We've got the matte black wheels here with the upgraded brakes and the GR red caliper accent. And then this vent right here is also properly functional. I have seen some cars that cost way more than this where this vent here is simply decorational. Not here. This is legit proper. GR badge right there. Another little detail on this side skirt is the GR4 etched right there. That refers to the all-wheel drive system. And we have the forged carbon roof, which is pretty cool. A quite aggressive rear spoiler there. And then around back, we have 3 exhaust tips, which just looks awesome. Think about what other cars come with 3 exhaust tips. The Ferrari 458 comes to my mind. So everything with 3 exhaust tips is just really cool, really unique look here. I'm such a fan of the way this thing looks, especially in this red and black contrast spec. Now it's a hatchback, so we have some practicality. Manual open tailgate back here. We've got the GR Corolla matte here. Decent amount of storage space, and this one does have back seats. There were some versions where they didn't have back seats, but up front we've got some suede and leather with the red stitching, the GR logo embroidered on the headrest, an actual mechanical handbrake, the manual shifter. I mean, the screen's nothing crazy, and ultimately, at the end of the day, this is still a Corolla, but the important thing is 3 pedals, and let's go for a drive. All right, let's go for a drive. Clutch in, start up. We have a little welcome sequence on the main screen there. We have a couple different options for our powertrain. There's a drive mode toggle right here. We can go up into sport. There's custom, sport, normal, eco. And then we have this dial right here for our GR4 all-wheel drive system. Normal, gravel, and then if you push on it, you get track. That's the variable torque split. And then there's little indications there if you're in sport mode, and then GR4 track. So let's try that. There's also this IMT button, which gives you your auto rev match for downshift. And then there's the traction button, so a couple different controls here. And I do like the shifter has a GR logo and then the pattern etched in there. Nice location for the shifter. Honestly, like I mentioned, right, on the inside, other than the seats and a couple of these accents, it is ultimately still a Corolla. So yes, it feels simple, but it has the important things. We have an infotainment screen here. I'll pull up CarPlay. Have a little route mapped in here. And then we've got the JBL system here for the Premium Plus. It's just okay. I can't imagine what the bass sound system sounds like, but it's nothing spectacular. But again, remember the point of this car. They took a Corolla and they put their money into making it drive, fun, powertrain, engineering, all that kind of stuff. So a couple stitching, accents. Space-wise, I'm actually very comfortable. 6'3". I've got headroom, legroom. It does not feel claustrophobic at all, but let us depart. Enough talking while sitting in place. Let's do a bit of driving. Definitely firmer suspension ride, but to be expected for this little rally-inspired hatch. I've also been driving big luxury family SUVs for the last couple of weeks, so hopping in this thing has been such a breath of fresh air. Got some burbles I hear. Now, that does sound like there is a lot of synthesized noise, and I'm pretty sure that's something they added. I mean, it sounds good when it's done well, but this one sounds a little bit too amplified. This is also a very, very unique powertrain, 3-cylinder. There's not a lot of 3-cylinders out there. I actually used to own a car with a 3-cylinder. The BMW i8, when those were new. That thing had a 3-cylinder. Let me go ahead and change my screen on the right. I want it to show, is there anything of value? Drive info, trip computer, tire pressure, all-wheel drive split. Why not? That sounds fun. And then MPGs on the left. Do I care about that? Ooh, there's sport gauges, which is temperatures, or boost gauge. Oh, let's leave it on a boost gauge. And I have the shift position in the middle. All right, that is what we shall run. Oh, this thing is totally all about fun. This is a car that has enough power to be fun, but not so much power to get you into trouble. And that honestly, in the real world, is a really good sweet spot. Some of these cars, modern performance cars, are just so fast that you run through 2 or 3 gears and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a go to prison speed. But like, here you can roll through a couple gears, you know, have some fun, and only be in mildly get in trouble speed. But what this thing really needs are curves. And you know what? Michigan suburbs don't have curves. I wish I was either on a proper track or in like the Malibu canyons in Southern California on some sort of mountain road, somewhere where there's tight, twisty turns. I think that's where you get to really, really experience the engineering and the whole point of this car. Sadly, I've just been using it as a normal, around town, daily driver, fun car, which this still does very well. I think the GR Corolla is one of the great one-car solutions. You know, we talk about like a 2-car solution, a good, cool, fun daily driver and a fun sports car, right? There's lots of different permutations of the ideal two-car solution. Maybe it's a Raptor R with a Shelby GT350R, or a luxury SUV, a Range Rover with your Porsche GT3, right? Those could be good combos. A Mercedes G63 with a Ferrari. But again, not everybody can afford two cars, and maybe you need one car that's still practical, responsible, reasonable price point, reasonable maintenance costs, and can still put a smile on your face. And I think this car is a very good candidate of that. Let's see, any complaints? The pedal spacing feels kind of weird. Like, the brake pedal is not very wide and it seems further from the gas. Some people might have issues like heel toeing, things like that. Let's see, I don't love the amplification. You hear that? Downshift to the second. Yeah, don't absolutely love the augmented exhaust noises. I don't think it needs it. But this is also a iteration of the GR Corolla that they've been working on for a couple years now, right? It came out several model years ago, and they've just been making incremental changes, improvements. They added the automatic transmission, they upped the torque, there's more hardcore versions, there's rear seat delete versions, there's that GR MN that I'm talking about. But this one right here as a Premium Plus, it's got a couple of the nicer features. I mean, we've got heated seats, I mentioned the JBL sound system, a couple cameras, things like that, dual zone climate control, if that's really important, forged carbon roof, which is definitely fun, and enough space and practicality with all the fun ingredients. Why does the shift knob keep spinning? It was backwards earlier. I was like, wait, why is it upside down? But when you think about the pricing, $50,000 may sound a lot for a Corolla, right? This is the most expensive Toyota Corolla probably ever made. The GR-MN is going to be definitely very, very pricey, but this competes with something like the Volkswagen Golf R, a Honda Civic Type R. That would be what I could see people cross-shopping it against. And something this has going for it is, well, manual transmission. Volkswagen doesn't do that anymore, and it's all-wheel drive, and just a really unique formula. Nothing against the Civic Type R. It's a really, really good all-around car, but front-wheel drive, it's a more conventional feeling. This, I feel like, has more unique, fun, interesting talking points. The interior definitely loses out a little bit compared to the Golf R and the Civic Type R. Those have a couple more premium touches and feel here and there, but this feels a little bit more raw and engaging. When I'm going over the bumps and stuff like that, it's a little more firm. It just maybe feels like the more youthful option, whereas if you're a grown-up responsible adult, maybe you go for the Civic Type R, definitely the Volkswagen Golf R. If Batman drove a Toyota GR Corolla, I think it would be that GR-MN in that like matte black, matte gray finish with all the carbon. Thing looks so cool. Will I get lucky to run through a couple of these roundabouts? I'm kind of sad that like this is the best thing we can do. I could drive an hour out of the way up to Hell, Michigan. There's some better roads up there, but a little bit further than I have time for. There you go. We go this way. Look at that. Oh, it's rotating. Love it. You could feel it. You could feel that towards the limited slip diff. It just pivoted. Oh, shorter wheelbase. It's like, oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. And that was just me being doing some shenanigans around some roundabouts, as you can see. Sorry, regular traffic. They see me in this little red pocket rocket. They kind of got to expect it, right? All right. I've had enough fun. What do you guys think? GR Corolla is still one of the best enthusiast picks. I would take this over a GR86, although I do have a GR86 next week that I'm spending some time with. So stay tuned for, I think I'll do a video with that. This versus a Type R. I need to spend some more time with the recent Type R. My friend Jason just got one. He put an exhaust on it. So I want to drive that to see how it stacks up. And I would definitely take this over a Golf R, I think. Because the Golf R doesn't come with a manual transmission anymore. Yeah, it feels a little nicer on the inside, things like that. But I think for fun, for driving fun, this thing definitely delivers. I've actually driven a Mark 8 Golf R on the track, and it was fine. I had no complaints about it really, but I want to drive one of these on a proper, like an autocross, a racetrack, or a curvy mountain road, but using it this week as a fun daily driver, thumbs up. I think it looks really cool, proper engineering, lots of cool, unique touches. When you start spending some time with it, you see all the openings for airflow. Like there's ones on the rear bumper, they're functional. Everything up front is functional, right? It's not just decorational badges and stuff they slapped on the grill and stuff like that, and I will absolutely respect that. GR, Gazoo Racing, doing all sorts of cool things. Can't wait to see the GR GT in person and see what else they've got cooking up. But hope you guys enjoyed this review of the 2026 Toyota GR Corolla Premium Plus with the manual transmission. If you order one of these, don't get the auto. The auto was fine. I drove it and it's $2,000. I think it's $2,000 extra, but I mean, save the manuals, right? I feel guilty ever recommending the automatic transmission if there's a manual one available, or even considering buying an automatic, because get the manual, get the manual. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.